The next call is a split call. Marama Davidson, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, I'm here for the second reading. I'm still not supporting the Housing Legislation Amendment Bill. That hasn't changed. I know. And actually, by the way, before I carry on, who was it that riled up the Minister? Was it you, Phil? I think it might have been Carmel or Dennis. Actually, it's probably Metidia. Who riled him up? Someone rolled him up. He got up and he felt it necessary to defend the houses being built and the consents. He's such a good minister. He got up and said, but look at the houses I built. Look at the consents I agreed to. Those are his measurements of success. Those are not measurements of success. That is not an indicator of how well our country is doing. When you get up and have a little rant about how many houses you've built, just a raw number, it wasn't even in any context. He didn't even talk about the number of state houses that they've either flogged off and haven't replaced in comparison, or the number that have been left to rot and are currently empty. Mr. Speaker, if we had gone through the proper democratic process for this bill, we would have heard from submitters. We would have heard from people, including those like the ones that the Greens and Labour and the Māori Party heard from in our homelessness inquiry, who were very clear when they said all of the government's proposals to date, all of the government's actions to date, and any of the proposals, including the little panic one we had yesterday from the Minister Paula Bennett to try and sort of, get her sympathy, make her look sympathetic to us wrapping up our homelessness inquiry, including all of that is proposed. We would have heard them saying, submitters saying how woefully inadequate these band-aid attempts are, including this legislation. And so, because we haven't heard from them, I wanted to make sure that I brought their voices and their say into this House of Representatives, as my co-leader just pointed out is what we are. We are supposed to be representative of our country, not just of developers, not just of overseas speculators who this government is continuing to enable to build more wealth as our own beautiful people who I love. Do you love them, government? Do you love our people? As our own people are the ones in garages, crowding in houses, or just even renting homes that they could easily be shoved out of at any time. Because you know why? Because the housing market is amazing. Because owners, because of this government, are able to flick off a house in Auckland and also be given as little as 90 days to be able to do that to any family, to any tenants, to any renters, because they'll get a massive profit. So it is preferable to be able to shove our people, our beautiful New Zealanders, out of their rental homes, out of their secure place, than to actually allow houses to be a home where we can put down rents. And this bill doesn't do anything to appease that. This bill doesn't. And in actual fact, the attempt to specifically address land banking in the SHAs, in the special areas, only goes so far as to impose a time limit for consent applications. That's it. It doesn't actually put any time limit on the actual building, just for getting a consent in. So it's a half mop, half band-aid, half a fire hose attempt at fixing this crisis, Mr. Speaker. I just very quickly in my last minute, in the Cabinet papers, even the Cabinet papers admit that this was a rush because the piece of paper, the regulatory impact statement, didn't even cover all the bill. That's how rushed this was. And also, Mr. Smith, the Minister, oversold this to his own Cabinet. He said that if this bill wasn't rushed, it was going to prevent 3,000 homes from being built. And then this morning he had to concede that figure was actually 2,000. What's going on? What's going on, Mr. Minister? I don't know what's going on. You're just overselling legislation to your own Cabinet. I'll just leave it there. Thanks, Mr. Speaker.
I call David.